Hey Taurus, welcome back. I just pulled your cards for today, and honestly, I need to sit down and really talk through what came up because this reading is absolutely packed with validation for everything you have been through. So, the theme we are exploring today connects to something I know many of you have experienced. There are people who genuinely tried to bring you down, like they really put effort into breaking your spirit, tarnishing your reputation, blocking your blessings, and making sure you stayed stuck. And yet, here you are, still standing, still growing, still thriving despite everything they threw at you. The cards want to show you exactly why their attempts failed and what this means for your future moving forward. Let me just say this up front. The energy coming through is powerful. 6 cards fell out for you today, and each one tells a specific part of your story. This is not just about survival, Taurus. This is about understanding the deeper spiritual protection and inner strength that carried you through the storm. So let me get into these cards because they have so much to say. The first card I pulled is the King of Swords, and wow, this card immediately sets the tone for everything. When I see the King of Swords in this position, I am seeing someone who refused to be manipulated by lies and distortions. This card represents mental clarity, truth, and the ability to cut through deception with precision. What happened to you, Taurus, is that people tried to control the narrative. They spread stories, twisted facts, painted you as someone you are not. Maybe they went to other people and tried to convince them that you were the problem. Maybe they gaslit you into questioning your own perception of reality. The King of Swords energy shows me that at some point, you stopped engaging with the chaos, and you started observing everything from a higher vantage point. This is the card of someone who does not react emotionally to provocation. Instead, they watch, they analyze, they gather information, and they make calculated decisions based on truth rather than drama. The people who came against you expected you to break down, to fight dirty, to stoop to their level. But you did not. You maintained your integrity. You kept your composure. You refused to be drawn into their games. What I find so powerful about this card showing up first is that it represents the mental fortitude you developed through this experience. You learned to trust your own judgment. You learned to see through manipulation tactics. You became someone who cannot be easily deceived or controlled anymore. The King of Swords sits on his throne with his sword raised, symbolizing authority over the mind and the ability to make fair judgments even in difficult circumstances. The future energy here shows that this mental clarity you have gained is going to be one of your greatest assets. People will continue to try to throw confusion your way, but you now have the wisdom to see through it immediately. You will recognize manipulation patterns before they take root. You will spot lies before they spread. This is a permanent upgrade to your discernment, Taurus. What they put you through actually made you sharper, wiser, and far more difficult to deceive. I also see that this King of Swords energy is going to help you communicate your truth powerfully in the coming months. There may be situations where you finally get to speak your side of the story, where your voice is actually heard after being silenced for so long. When that moment comes, you will deliver your truth with such clarity and conviction that no one will be able to deny it. This is not about revenge. This is about justice and setting the record straight. The second card that came through is the Death card, and I know this one can look intense, but please hear me out on this because the message is incredibly empowering. The Death card is about complete transformation, the ending of old cycles, and the absolute death of versions of yourself that no longer serve your highest good. What the people who tried to destroy you did not understand is that they were actually facilitating your rebirth. Every attack they launched, every obstacle they placed in your path, every lie they told was actually contributing to the death of your old self. The person you were before all of this happened could not have handled what is coming next in your life. You needed to shed that skin. You needed to let certain illusions die. You needed to release attachments to people, places, and identities that were keeping you small. The Death card shows a skeleton in armor riding a white horse, and there is something so striking about this image. The skeleton represents what remains when everything superficial is stripped away. The armor shows that this transformation was hard-won, earned through battle and difficulty. The white horse symbolizes purity and spiritual progress. What I am seeing for you, Taurus, is that their attempts to destroy you actually destroyed the parts of you that were holding you back from your true power. Maybe you were too trusting before, and now you have healthy boundaries. Maybe you were too concerned with being liked, and now you prioritize being respected. Maybe you avoided conflict, and now you stand firmly in your truth regardless of who it makes uncomfortable. These shifts are permanent. The old version of you who could be easily manipulated or taken advantage of is gone, dead, never coming back. Looking at your future with this energy, I see you stepping into a completely new chapter of your life that would not have been accessible to the old you. This transformation has prepared you for opportunities, relationships, and experiences that require the strength and wisdom you now possess. The universe was actually protecting you by allowing this difficult period to happen because it knew you needed to evolve before you could handle what is coming next. I also see that this death energy is bringing closure to the situation with these people. Their influence over your life is ending completely. Any remaining energetic cords connecting you to them are being cut. Any lingering effects of their actions are being neutralized. You are moving into a space where they literally cannot touch you anymore. Their chapter in your story is over, and the Death card is sealing that door permanently. The third card is the Eight of Swords, and this one is really interesting because it represents feeling trapped, restricted, and powerless. But here is what I am picking up. This card is showing me how they wanted you to feel, not how you actually are. They wanted you to believe you were trapped with no options, no way forward, no escape from the situation they created. The Eight of Swords shows a blindfolded figure surrounded by swords stuck in the ground, and the traditional interpretation is about self-imposed limitations and mental imprisonment. But in your reading, Taurus, this card is revealing their strategy. They tried to keep you mentally bound. They wanted you to think you had no power, no voice, no ability to change your circumstances. They needed you to believe their version of reality where you were the victim with no recourse. But here is the powerful truth this card is revealing. Those bindings were never as tight as they appeared. The blindfold could be removed at any time. The swords surrounding the figure are not actually blocking all paths forward. This was an illusion of powerlessness, not actual powerlessness. And the fact that you are here now, reading this, having survived and moved beyond what they tried to do, proves that you found your way out of that mental prison. What I am seeing in your future energy with this card is a continued journey of recognizing and dismantling false limitations. You are going to realize more and more just how much power you actually have. Situations that once would have made you feel trapped and helpless, you will now navigate with confidence because you understand that most limitations are perceptual rather than actual. I also see you helping others who are stuck in similar situations. Your experience of breaking free from mental imprisonment gives you unique insight into how to guide others through their own liberation. You will be able to see when someone is bound by false beliefs about their own powerlessness, and you will have the wisdom to help them see their options clearly. The Eight of Swords in this position is also confirming something important about the people who came against you. They relied on keeping you confused, doubtful, and convinced of your own helplessness. The moment you started to see clearly, their whole strategy fell apart. This is why maintaining your mental clarity, as shown by that King of Swords, is so crucial. Your clear thinking is literally your superpower against anyone who tries to manipulate or control you. The fourth card that came through is the Four of Swords, and this is speaking to something really essential about your journey. This card represents rest, recovery, contemplation, and strategic withdrawal. The Four of Swords shows a figure lying in repose, often in a church or sacred space, with 3 swords mounted on the wall and 1 sword lying beneath the resting figure. What this card is telling me is that there was a period where you needed to completely withdraw from the battlefield. You needed to stop fighting, stop defending, stop engaging with the chaos, and just retreat into a space of healing and contemplation. This might have felt like giving up at the time, but it was actually the most strategic move you could have made. The people who tried to destroy you wanted you to keep fighting. They wanted you exhausted, depleted, constantly on the defensive. They fed off the conflict and your emotional reactions. When you withdrew and stopped giving them that energy, you disrupted their entire plan. They had no power over someone who refused to engage with them anymore. The Four of Swords also represents the mental and spiritual recovery that was necessary after everything you went through. You needed time to process what happened, to heal from the wounds, to restore your energy, and to gain perspective on the bigger picture. This period of rest was not wasted time. It was essential preparation for your next chapter. Looking at the future energy here, I see that you have learned the incredible value of strategic rest and knowing when to withdraw from situations that drain you. You no longer feel compelled to fight every battle or defend yourself against every accusation. You understand that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply remove yourself from the arena and let people exhaust themselves with their own negativity. This Four of Swords energy is also telling me that you are going to prioritize your peace moving forward. You have experienced what it feels like to be in constant conflict and chaos, and you have also experienced the healing power of stillness and withdrawal. You will choose peace over drama every single time now. You will protect your energy fiercely. You will not allow anyone to disturb your inner sanctuary again. I also see that this period of rest and contemplation gave you profound insights about yourself, about others, and about how you want to move forward in life. The clarity you gained during your withdrawal is going to inform all of your future decisions. You know who you are now in a way you did not before. You know what you will and will not tolerate. You know the value of your energy, and you are not going to waste it on people who do not deserve access to you. The 5th card is the 10 of Swords, and I know this one looks really dramatic and painful, but please stay with me because the message here is actually about endings and the impossibility of being hurt the same way again. The 10 of Swords shows a figure lying face down with 10 swords in their back, and yes, it represents betrayal, painful endings, and hitting rock bottom. But here is what this card is really saying in your reading. What happened to you was the worst it could be. They did their absolute worst. They threw everything they had at you. They tried every tactic, pulled every string, used every weapon in their arsenal to bring you down. The 10 of Swords represents the maximum level of attack, the complete expenditure of their destructive energy against you. And you survived it. You are still here. They gave you their best shot, and it was not enough to destroy you. That is incredibly significant, Taurus. The 10 of Swords is showing that you have already weathered the worst storm. You have already survived the maximum level of betrayal and attack. There is nothing left for them to throw at you that could be worse than what you have already endured and overcome. The future energy with this card is so empowering because it is showing that you are now essentially immune to this type of attack. You know what the worst looks like. You know you can survive it. You know that even when people do their absolute worst, you have the resilience and strength to come through the other side. This knowledge makes you incredibly powerful because fear loses its grip when you have already faced and survived the worst-case scenario. I also see that the 10 of Swords is marking the complete end of this cycle of attack and betrayal. This is the final card of the Sword suit before it cycles back to the Ace, which represents new beginnings. You have completed the full journey through mental challenges, conflicts, and painful truths. The cycle is over. What comes next is completely new and not colored by the energy of what came before. The Ten of Swords also carries a message about sunrise and new dawns. In traditional imagery, you can often see the sun rising in the background of this card, symbolizing that even in the darkest moment, a new day is beginning. Your darkest hour has passed, Taurus. The worst is behind you. What lies ahead is illumination, clarity, hope, and new opportunities that emerge specifically because you made it through the darkness. The sixth and final card is the Queen of Cups, and honestly, this card brings tears to my eyes because of what it represents in your reading. The Queen of Cups is the card of emotional mastery, deep compassion, intuitive wisdom, and the ability to feel deeply without being overwhelmed by those feelings. She sits on her throne by the water, holding her cup gently, completely in control of her emotional realm. What this card is showing me is the beautiful, powerful person you have become through this experience. Despite everything that was done to you, despite all the reasons you had to become bitter, hardened, or closed off, you maintained your capacity for love, compassion, and emotional openness. You did not let what happened to you poison your heart. You did not become like the people who hurt you. You remained true to your essential nature, which is loving, caring, and emotionally intelligent. The Queen of Cups represents someone who has been through the depths of emotional pain and emerged with even greater wisdom and compassion. She understands suffering because she has experienced it, but she does not let that suffering define her or limit her capacity to love and connect with others. This is who you are now, Taurus. You have emotional scars, yes, but you also have profound emotional strength and wisdom. Looking at your future with this Queen of Cups energy, I see beautiful, authentic, emotionally fulfilling connections coming into your life. The right people are going to be drawn to your energy because you radiate genuine emotional maturity and wisdom. You are not playing games. You are not manipulating. You are not trying to control or use people. You are simply being authentically yourself, and that authenticity is magnetic. I also see that your intuition has been incredibly heightened through this experience. The Queen of Cups is deeply intuitive, and you have developed the ability to sense people's true intentions beneath their words and actions. You can feel when something is off. You can sense deception. You can read emotional undercurrents that others miss completely. This intuitive gift is going to protect you and guide you toward people and situations that are genuinely aligned with your highest good. The Queen of Cups is also telling me that you are ready to open your heart again, but on your own terms. You are not closing yourself off from love, connection, and vulnerability. You are simply being much more discerning about who receives access to your emotional world. You understand now that your emotional energy is precious and should only be shared with people who truly value and respect it. This final card is really showing the ultimate victory, Taurus. They tried to break you, to destroy your spirit, to turn you bitter and cold. They failed completely. You emerged from the experience with your heart intact, your compassion deepened, your emotional intelligence enhanced, and your capacity for love stronger than ever. That is the real proof that they could not destroy you. You are still you, just a wiser, stronger, more powerful version. So, let me bring all of this together for you because the message is so clear and so powerful. The cards are confirming that yes, there were people who genuinely tried to destroy you. They used lies, manipulation, attacks on your character, and every tactic they could think of to bring you down. But they failed for very specific reasons that these cards reveal. They failed because you developed mental clarity and discernment that made you impossible to manipulate. They failed because the very attacks they launched against you facilitated your transformation into a stronger version of yourself. They failed because you recognized the illusion of powerlessness they tried to trap you in, and you broke free from it. They failed because you had the wisdom to withdraw and recover, rather than exhaust yourself fighting battles that did not serve you. They failed because you survived their absolute worst and proved your resilience. And they failed because, despite everything, you maintained your emotional integrity and capacity for love. What I want you to understand, Taurus, is that you did not just survive what they tried to do to you, you actually came out ahead. You gained wisdom, strength, discernment, emotional mastery, and spiritual protection that you would not have developed without going through this experience. The universe allowed this difficult period in your life because it knew you would not only survive it, but would emerge more powerful than ever before. Your future is so bright, Taurus. The cards are showing someone who is now essentially untouchable by the same tactics that once caused you pain. You have leveled up in every way. Your mental game is strong, your emotional intelligence is heightened, your intuition is sharp, and your ability to recognize and avoid toxic people and situations is finely tuned. The people who tried to destroy you actually gave you the greatest gift, even though that was not their intention. They forced you to discover just how strong you really are. They pushed you to develop skills and wisdom you might never have cultivated in easier circumstances. They showed you who your real allies are and who was just playing a role. They revealed the truth about themselves and saved you years of wasted time and energy on people who did not deserve you. I hope this reading resonates with you and helps you understand just how powerful your journey has been. You survived something that was designed to break you, and not only did you survive, you thrived. That is the ultimate victory, Taurus. Keep moving forward with confidence, knowing that you have already proven your strength in the most challenging circumstances. The universe has your back and always did. If you connected with this reading, I would love to hear about your experience in the comments. Did this reflect what you have been through? Have you noticed these shifts in yourself? Let me know, because your stories and insights always add so much to these readings, sending you so much love and respect for everything you have endured and overcome. You are truly unstoppable.